Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. Uh, today's webinar we're going to talk about Power BI Desktop, a beginner guide to Power BI service, and we already have our speaker here, Quzeem Olamide, who is going to take this section, talking about Power BI. But before we start the demo and webinar properly, I just want to just take a minute to talk about your BizEdge and image analysis, because this webinar is powered by your BizEdge, and your BizEdge is just a consulting firm. So when it comes to any project on Power BI, Excel, anything, we are here for you. And also we take trainees, both physical and online. And sometimes you want to be able to customize to just suit you. Okay, so we are always available to take in there. And in conjunction with the trainings and the consultation, we also have some courses on that we can take. We have the in-depth Excel, Power BI, also financial modeling. So we have some of our courses on class or your BZ.com that you can take. So if you want something, you can always go back. So you have the access to it. We also have some courses on them too. Um, we also have our sister company, which is in Canada, MHA's Analytics. Still the same thing, but we're just trying to just via the scope of everything in Power BI. So now I'll just go to what we have today. We already have a speaker already, which is Quzeem Olamide. And Quzeem Olamide is a BI and data analyst with hands-on experience in the marketing industry. And he also have supported analytics, reporting, automation and development of decision support dashboard. He's a Microsoft certified Power BI data analyst and Fabric data manager associate, bringing both technical experts and practical business understanding to his analytics work. So beyond all this about analytics, he's also a writer and also educator with a passion for simplifying complex data concepts. And he has also worked on some analytics articles and also deliver one-on-one coaching, creating learning resources for data professionals. So I'm going to be handing over to Quzeem now to take us for today's webinar. But before that, I just want to just bring this to our attention that currently we are running a free data analytics bootcamp, and this is the third time of us taking this particular bootcamp. It is been designed for Excel, Power BI Excel. So it's a 3 week bootcamp, and we have we have two classes. We have the free classes, and we also have the we have the free classes and also the okay, let me just we have the free classes. So for the free classes, you have access to just attend only the class, but you won't have access to the recording or any materials or for us to go to be able to go to do your work. But the second one, which is the paid version, you have access to the live section, you have access to the recording, and also you have access to the quick question and answers, because you can send your assessments, we're going to grade it. So the class is going to start next month, but the registration is running from today, from this month. So it's going to be closing this month because the class is going to start next month. And it is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday by 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And one thing about this, even if you don't have like you're not able to like join the live section, there is always the recording, but you only have access to the recording when you paid for the class. So we have the prices there already, and also there's a particular discount. Yes, so you have the early bird 64,000, but I think it's going to be ending this month, this week. I don't think this is not there, but if you don't pay for the early bird, you can still pay 79,000. So it's just like having the three assets, just not 80,000 for the three classes. So now I'm going to drop the mic to our speaker so that is going to take us through today's webinar. So, Cousin, we have the floor.
Okay, thank you for the kind introduction, Salma. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you're watching us from today. Kindly help me confirm if I'm loud enough or if I need to raise my voice. So don't
Yeah,
mind
you're
to share my
good.
screen. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
So let me present slideshow from current. Yeah, from current slide. So the name is Quzeem Olamide, and I won't be reintroducing myself because Sam has already done a wonderful job. So once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So for today, what we have Beyond Power BI Desktop, a beginner's guide to Power BI service. Before we get right into the slides and demos we are going to be doing, I'll be starting off with an analogy. So do well to bear with me. Here goes. Now, let's imagine a chef who has, put in considerable effort and hours to making a beautiful meal, and the ingredients are fresh, the seasoning is perfect, even up to the plating, the way the food is packaged is also like immaculate. Now, the chef is done making this beautiful meal. The chef brings out their camera, takes a couple of pictures of this beautiful meal they just made, and post online to, and they basically post the pictures online, and they get quite the comment. This is amazing. This looks beautiful, which for me it's actually deserved. But at the end of the day, the food never gets consumed by anybody. The food never leaves the kitchen. Nobody's getting nourished by this beautiful meal. What people are just getting are just like the pictures online. And at the end of the day, if you make a meal, the end product of the meal is is for it to get consumed, so that somebody should eat the food. And for me, that is akin to building a beautiful report in Power BI desktop, and the reports never getting out of Power BI desktop to Power BI service. So that is going to be the bone of contention today. For me, the way I see it, you go online and you see people getting started with their data analytics journey, most especially, with Power BI, they put in a lot of effort into like, building beautiful reports. They wrote complex data and then they've done the visualization and then they just do screenshots and and for me, that is very, very, very impressive. So today's session is to help those particular set of people transition from Power BI desktop to Power BI service, because Power BI desktop is just one part of the Power BI architecture. And as a side note, if you also plan on taking the PL 300 examination, which is the Power BI Data Analyst Associate certification exam, you would find this session very, 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 very useful. Take it from me. I've also written the exam. So the way the exam is structured is that it follows four structural layers of questioning. The first one is prepare the data, which accounts for about like 25% of the exam question. The next one is model the data, also 25%. And then we have visualize the data, which is also 25%. And the last one is secure and share, which is literally Power BI service. You get asked question on Power BI service. So if you plan on taking the exam, the things we are going to be doing today, you'll find them insightful, in transitioning from Power BI desktop to Power BI service, and also in a senior peer 300 exam. So I'm going to, start with my slide now. So what's the agenda for today? We are going to be starting with understanding the Power BI, architecture before we talk about service. What's the Power BI desktop? What is the Power BI? What is the Power BI service? How did they come together to make the whole of Power BI architecture and the things we have underneath them? Then we move on to talking about workspaces and licenses. Um, then we also talk about workspaces and role and the principles of list privileges. Then we'll move on to report versus dashboard. This is after we've published our reports to the workspace in Power BI service. Then we talk about refresh and gateways as a way to keep our reports updated and yeah, as a way to have our reports and dashboard updated. And then we also talk about alert and subscription as a way to be reactive and and proactive with our dashboard and reports we've made. And lastly, we'll also be doing a demo on security and sharing with row level security. So now the Power BI architecture, for me, I could break this down further into four. I could break this down further into five, or even two. So the Power BI architecture, Power BI, just like any other business intelligence tool, they support the connection to multiple data sources, be it an on-premise system like the SQL Server sitting on your laptop, or local CSV files or XLS file, or even data you have on cloud services like SharePoint, Google Sheet Online, or like from your ERP system or SAP. So you can do that with the Power BI desktop part of the Power BI architecture, and still on the Power BI desktop part of the Power BI architecture. We could also clean our data and reshape it in a way that is ready for visualization. Then upon that, we create relational models, write dash expression and calculated columns, and then we visualize. So now Power BI service, the big guy here, which this is the center of focus for today, is one aspect of the Power BI architecture, which beginners don't really frequent, or they are not comfortable diving into. So what's Power BI service? It's a software as a solution. It's a SaaS, so it's a cloud platform for publishing and sharing and collaborating on our report and other Power BI artifacts online. So now let's talk about workspaces and licenses. So before we go into workspaces and licenses, it only makes sense to talk about what is needed to, signing up for Power BI service. So to sign up for Power BI service, it's actually just one prerequisite, which is for you to have a work mail or a school mail. So this is very important in the sense that if you have like a personal mail, anything that ends with like at gmail.com, at Outlook, you can't set up an account with Power BI service. So we are going to be talking about workspaces. So workspace is an integral part of the Power BI service. It is a collaborative environment within Power BI service, um, where we publish our report into, we create dashboard, set, refresh, edit our credentials, give people access to what they can do, what they can't do. And then licenses also, they goes, hand in hand. Licenses, they take the level of functionality and access users have. So we can say it's like, licenses like maybe you are on Spotify, you kind of like have a premium, where you get to listen to music without ads, and maybe you have like a free version. Well, for maybe for like at the end of each music, you finish listening, you get a free ad you have to like listen to because you don't have like a paid. But we have quite the licenses in Power BI. Once we create our workspace, we are going to talk about that more. So for now, let me open up the Power BI report I have here, and then we'll be doing a little bit of jogging between the slides, Power BI service, and Power BI desktop. So I have this demo report here with me, and just like any beginner, this is like the end product. You make a report, and we take a screenshot, and then we post online. So first thing first, if you noticed, I've signed in here, and at the end I have a unique domain, which is olamide at quzeemnigeria.on microsoft.com. So for you to be able to publish to service, you need to have a work mail or a school account. The first time I needed to publish to Power BI service next to Unilag, I had to use, I was still in Unilag then, so I had to use my school mail, but it was just a free Power BI license. I couldn't do much. So now let's say you are a beginner and you've made your report, and you don't want this to be the end of the story. You want your reports to leave the kitchen, you want your reports to leave the Power BI desktop and and get to the Power BI service. So what do you need for it to happen? So first thing first, you make sure you've signed in. You've signed into a Power BI to your Power BI service account that you have, and then So one thing before publishing, before we get right into it now. So if you notice on the left-hand side here, I have the select branch, which is a slicer or the branch to filter by. Ibadan is currently selected. So if I'm to publish this report to Power BI service, this filtering that I have here is going to get rolled over. So I'm just going to click out to make sure that doesn't happen. And then I click on publish. So it's asking me if I want to save my changes. Yes, I want to do. So we have my workspace. Prior to this session, I have the couple of workspaces here, but I've had them deleted. So okay, my mic is echoing. I don't know. Okay, let me try and unmute again. Hello? Oh, oh.
Fine, test
Fine,
it now.
test it now. Yeah, it's doing the same.
Instead of
I can,
going,
I can, yeah, I can hear myself.
maybe you should
Let
leave
me
and
leave
join.
and join. I should leave and join.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm back. And
Okay,
luckily
welcome
enough,
back.
it's not echoing. So let me just share my screen and then we get right into it. So the moment I click on publish and I've signed in, you inherently you have my workspace, and I'm just going to open up I'm going to log into my Power BI service, and then I'm going to create a workspace, and then it is going to reflect in our Power BI desktop, and then we get to push our reports from there to Power BI service. So I'm going to do app.powerbi.com. So now this is the big guy we've been talking about. So inherently, once you sign up for Power BI service, you get what we called my workspace. So my workspace is inherent. Allow me to use that word. And what I mean by inherent is if you also sign up for Power BI service, you also get the same thing. So how does my workspace different from other workspaces we are going to be creating for? My workspace is created for us already, and how does that differ from the one we are going to be creating for ourselves? So the way I look at it, my workspace is a personal sandbox, and and it's just for you to to do your thing, and the essence of it is like personal development. You want to test things out. Collaboration is not required. You get your my workspace. And also in terms of license, if you don't have a pro or a premium, which I'm going to be talking about in a few, this is the only thing you get. But I'm currently on a Fabric trial license. This is the workspace I created when I was preparing for my DP 700 exam. So it's very, very easy to create a workspace. So just again, app.powerbi.com. So for you, if you are just signing up for Power BI, this place is meant to be empty. So here I come to workspaces, and then I come here to click on new workspace. Now I'm going to name this Power Webinar Demo. And this green six tells us if the name we have here is not conflicting to an already named workspace we have already. And in this box here, we could.
Your screen is not showing.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
no, wait, I can see your screen. You
Okay,
can
can I go
continue.
on?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you very much. So this description box here, you could provide a description for people that, that are going to be in this workspace, collaborating with us, consuming the report. But I'm kind of lazy at the moment. I won't be doing that. So now, inherently, I am the owner of this workspace, so this gets added automatically, and this is just my own domain to showcase Power BI service. And if this was my organization domain, I would add my colleague, but I can't currently do that. So let's talk about the license mode now. So we have the Pro. So if you have an Office 365 license from your organization, inherently you get you have this license, which is Power BI Pro, and this is the minimum requirements you that is required for collaboration and consumption of reports in Power BI service. Next, we have Premium per user, which is a level higher than Power BI Pro. You get to do more, and then you also have access to data flows and data marts, and it's just pro on a little bit of steroid, and there are also perks. So if you are sharing a report or yeah with somebody, you have a premium per user and you're sharing a report, the minimum for them to also like consume the reports, they require a pro. But for a premium capacity, they don't need that. And the premium capacity, I think is about 724 dollars per month. I have the licensing deck here, but for Pro is about $14, Premium is about $24. So to create this workspace, I'm going to click on the trial, on the Fabric trial. So it's more elaborate for me. I still have 12 days left. So this option here called develop templates apps. So it's for, let's say, when I'm trying to I have multiple people that are going to use my reports, but they have different data. So what I mean by same reports but different data source. So I could click on develop template apps for them. So they will just plug in their data and everything works well for them. So that's just about it, creating a workspace, which is very, very, very easy. So I'm just going to click on apply. So this is beautiful. And I'm getting a notification that I have 12 days left in my Fabric trial. So this is what it's going to look like. I don't have any assets here in my workspace that I just created called webinar demo. So I'm going to go back to my Power BI report, and then I will publish my report into this workspace we just created. So I'm going to click on cancel, and then I'm going to click on publish again. And I should have the workspace we created reflecting here. So you can see this is the workspace we created. So it's called webinar demo. So I'm going to be selecting. So hopefully it doesn't really take take that much, because the semantic model is a little bit the data um is a little bit big.
Anthony, how are we doing? Fine, thank you. Well done.
So this is nice. So while this is going on, I might just, open up the slides to talk about workspace roles and privilege. But let me also try and pin this guy here. Control Window T. So yeah, so he doesn't leave. So this is good. So I'm just going to click on this guy. So nice. So now workspace rules and principles of list privilege. So this is an integral part of the workspace. With workspace rule, you get to decide what somebody can do in your workspace. Do they only get to view the data? Do they only get to view the reports you've published? Okay, we have it already done. So let me just click on that. Do Control Window T to remove. So nice. This is the report. I'm going to click on fit to page. Yeah, and for me, this is This is okay. So I'll click out again. Internet is a little bit slow. So this is beautiful. So now you will notice that the name of our report is actually yeah, got it. This is nice. Okay. Trying to control the T, control the T, control the T. So the name of our reports here, right at the left-hand side, up here, it's called class demo Power BI. And here now, you only publish the reports into this workspace in Power BI service, but we are also getting the semantic model published. So what is a semantic model? So when we have our reports in Power BI, our reports in Power BI desktop is feeding from our data source, and from that particular data source, we've created the relational data model. I mean, this table is talking to this table, my calendar table is talking to my sales figure, my calendar table is also talking to my sales table. So all those things makes up the semantic model. I call them relational model, just bunch of tables, talking to each other. So the moment you publish your report into Power BI service, the associated underlying relational model also gets pushed with it, and it is called semantic model. So I think as at November 2023, before that it was always called data sets, but I feel semantic model is more thorough. So now let's do a little bit of tour of the reports we have here. So I'm just going to click on class and on the reports again. So this worked for me, and then I could switch. This my report is configured to show two currency. One is Nigerian and one is USD. So I could fiddle with it over here. Click on Bagada, and then it filters for Bagada. Also click on Ibadan, and I could also do a multi-level filter, but I'm going to click out. I'm going to click out. So now you publish your report into Power BI service, and you're viewing what can we do, what can't we do depending on your license. So first thing first, let's do a tour of the Power BI service report interface we have here. So we have the file. I'm going to click on the drop down. So saving a copy, if you click on this, what is going to happen is that maybe you have another workspace, you have a workspace of your own, and you love these reports. Maybe you want to edit, or you want to just have a copy in your own departmental workspace. If you click on save or copy, you are literally saving the PBIX file that has got published to Power BI service, and then you can enter a name for the reports, and you can also assign a tax. So that is about it with the file option of saving as a copy. And if you have to download this file, you are downloading the PBIX file, and with the managed permission, what you can do, you're adding people to assign, you could assign rows to them. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. And this embed reports, this is where things get interesting for the beginners I have there. So for this SharePoint online, what this means is that if your organization has a SharePoint and maybe you guys frequent that, you could embed the reports into SharePoint, but they need to sign in. So it requires them to, sign in, and then for the people that wants to consume through the SharePoint, has to be under your organization tenant. And then we also have a website or portal which is somewhat similar to the SharePoint online, because it also requires you to sign. And then we also have this published to web and public, which most beginners would find very, very lovely. So the first time I needed to get my Power BI reports out there for people to, actually, pick and choose, this was the option I picked, and I'm going to tell you what it means and for a beginner and as a pro. So for a beginner, if you are on a free Power BI license or you're on a trial, you know, the best you could do is you could publish as much as reports you can to publish to web. So if you publish to web, anybody on the internet without them signing in, like no credential as they get to fiddle with the report. So I'm going to click on publish to web, and we would see the option. And yeah, since I'm the since I'm the admin in my own tenant, because you could literally see that Olamide at Quzeem Nigeria, this is just my own. This is just me in this tenant, so I could do something like this. So if you are not the person, maybe it's your first time. You will need to, like, go to settings and then look for embed report and then give access for anybody to, to publish to web. So I'm going to click on publish. And then we have this dialog box that kind of pops out. So there are kind of like two options here. So let's say you want to embed your Power BI report in a website of your own. You could, copy the iframe. And if you just want them to interact with the report, basically, you will just copy the first link we have here. So I'm going to click on copy and drop in the chat for anybody that wants to interact with the reports. And in this preview window here, we get to, show which kind of reports we want them to see by default. If I click on the second one, anybody will be able to, like, see this at a glance. So I'm going to drop this in the chat for anybody that wants to that wants to interact with it. So now moving on to the exports, and we have three options over here, and I'm going to be starting with the one from the bottom. So now let's say you don't want to interact with the reports. Not everybody would interact with the report. They just want to see like a summary of the report like it is here. They could export the report out as a PDF. And it's literally like, is once you click a PDF, you get like a PDF version of your report. If you have 5 pages in your report, you also get a 5-page PDF. Same thing for PowerPoint. So the most interesting part here with the export here is in analyzing Excel, which I find really, really, really interesting. So what analyzing Excel does is way different from the export of PowerPoint and PDF. So in essence, the relational model, which is like the semantic model, let's say we have some people that they like the report and they like the data, the underlying data of the report. They want to build something custom made to themselves in Excel, because most organization, even though they have like advanced BI tools, they still find a way to they still request that the reports or like the data gets sent to Excel for certain people to to use. So when I click on analyze in Excel, what's going to happen is that the underlying semantic model is going to get added to a pivot table. And what I mean, and we are going to see what's going on in a moment. So I'm going to close this. So this is the end, the results from clicking on analyzing in Excel. So over here now, you could see that we have a pivot table. I'm going to click on enable editing. Okay, Control-T. So thank you. So now you could see like we have the model here. So if I believe if you've worked with pivot table before, you should get your tables here. And instead of us having tables, we have the model. So this model is a semantic model from the Power BI reports we publish. So anybody from there, we could open it up and then drag those particular fields to make report. So that's about it with exporting with analyzing in Excel. So if you click on this share here, so from this place, and also like in the workspace, you could do a configuration on who could access the reports, who can't access the reports. You can add the mail, and the moment I click on, I could see other settings. Should recipients have the ability to share this report? The recipients have the ability to build content with this report. Same thing I could do with workspace role, but a little bit lazy here. So, and then we also have like subscribe. So for me, we also have subscribe. We are going to be talking more about that. So with subscription, everybody gets a snapshot of the of the report at the particular time that we set. And then we also have set alert. So this is where things get a little bit start getting a little bit interesting. So this set alert is something that is meant to be for Power BI, for dashboard alone, not with reports. But what I'm going to click on set alert and we could get more context on what I'm talking about. So now the moment I click on alert, my figures, columns and tables I have there, they popped. But if you take a look at the bottom right here, I have what I called RTI sample. So the RTI sample is basically, let me, yeah, okay. So the RTI sample basically is real-time intelligence, which is from Fabric. So it is through this now we could configure an activator to set an alert on our report. This is not something that used to be possible with the reports before, but if you have like an event stream, an events house, maybe like in Fabric, and then you want like real-time updates, you want something to happen based on certain triggers. With that now, we now have that in Power BI reports. So there's a prerequisite for you. You need to have a Fabric license before you can use this set alerts in to set alert on your report, but we won't be doing that. So we also have a monitor and then we also have edits. So I'm going to be talking more about the edits and what this means. So if I click on edits, um, I could literally work on the reports, configure page level filters and whatnot. And this is where things actually gets interesting if you allow me to say that. So what does it mean if I share these reports with other people and I grant them edit access? What happens? Is it that they are getting a copy of the report or are they getting the same thing? So if I'm to edit this report, maybe for this sales achieved, I drag it out, I, put another measure here, what's going to happen? So the thing is, it's just one report. Nobody is getting a copy as long that they are clicking on the edits like I did. So what happened is like the last person that work on it, that is what gets pushed to the cloud. And what I mean that maybe I'm working on a report and my colleague is working on that same report through the edits that I just clicked on. If they are done, they click on save and then the reading view, that is going to be like, what everybody gets to see. And once I'm done, what like my own update is going to like overwrite what they are doing. So you also, have to be, taking into cognizance of who we give this particular kind of, of access to. But me, I'm an admin and I'm trying to like, showcase what we can do with Power BI service. So I'm just going to click on save. I didn't actually do anything. I'm going to switch back to the reading view. So now that we've done a little bit tour of the Power BI service, let's start with data refresh and get to it. So I'm going to click on my workspace. Again, this webinar demo. So now it's not even assume. Let's assume you already have your reports as a beginner in Power BI service. You've taken the leap, you've moved away from Power BI desktop to service, you've gone from production to consumption. So what does this mean? What's the next step? So now here's the thing. For most beginners, they don't really have access to the projects I've seen from experience. It's always on-premise data. And what I mean by on-premise data is any data located on your PC or a data source that is abstracted away from the internet, maybe it's sitting on a private network. So that qualifies as an on-premise data source. Same thing for your MySQL you have on your PC. So how do we do refresh? I have these reports here now, but I want it to stay up to date. How do I do that? So right here, we can do that through the semantic model. So immediately I'm hovering over it, I'm getting these three icons. This one is refresh now, which is an on-demand refresh, and also have a schedule refresh. So let me just open up my slide and then let's continue from there. I have to do this every time. Okay. Okay, we are meant to talk about reports. We are meant to talk about report and dashboard. So let's do report and dashboard before we move on to updating updating our reports. So how do we create dashboard? So it's quite easy on how to create dashboard in Excel. I mean in Power BI in Power BI service, it's quite straightforward on how to do that. So you click on one visual, and then you click on this pin icon that says pin visual. So the moment when you click on the pin visual, you get this dialog box that asks you pin to a dashboard. So this my workspace and my tenant is currently empty. So I can't click on, it's not possible for me to click on an existing dashboard because no dashboard existed as has been existing rather. So I can provide a name, I can say webinar dashboard, and then I click on pin. So by doing that automatically, I've created a dashboard, and you could see I get a box here that is telling me that do I want to go to a dashboard or create a mobile layout. But I'm not done. I want to put more stuff on my dashboard. Let me, put the quantities hold also, paint visual. Now that I have a dashboard created, I could see that I have existing dashboard. And in a moment, I'm going to be talking about how does a report differs from a dashboard. So you could see here now there's like a drop down, and I only have one webinar dashboard. So this is basically what it's telling us is that we could pin a visual from one particular report in a workspace to another dashboard in another workspace. So that is we are going to be talking about how does a report differs from a dashboard. So reports, they are always like multi-pages, and they are highly interactive, like they're highly interactive. They click on a filter, it cross filters another visual, that kind of interaction. That is what we get from a report expectedly. And we could also drill down, we could also like explore like the data extensively rather. And with a dashboard is always like single page summaries. And one beautiful thing, or like with dashboard I like, is that I could have a card in another reports in another workspace, but it's going to be integral to somebody like making a decision, or to make their work faster with data. I could pin a visual from that particular report to another another dashboard. So dashboard with interactivity, they actually like no don't do that. So we've created the dashboard here. I'm going to click on pin also, and I'm going to go to target overview, and I would pin this tag some of the target figures also. So I have Nigeria, so they are not conflicting. So let me change the filter here to also Nigeria. So I'll click on this target visual, then I'll click on pin, and I click on pin. On the assign target also, this assign targets by branch. Okay, that is enough. Or let me go to my sales overview. I would like to see a monthly sales trend in my dashboard also, so we understand what is going on. So pin on visual, yes, this works for me. So now I can, go to the dashboard, and let's see what we can do with this particular dashboard now. So now that I've created this dashboard, what can I do? So I have edit assets on this dashboard. I could Here's what I can do. I can resize, I can set alerts on this particular visual, and do stuff like that. So let's see what I have in my slide, because it helps me get my line of thoughts here. So okay, we could do refresh and get raised after alert. So this is basically the dashboard here. So you can see some of my customization did not were stripped away. So this is about it in creating dashboard in Power BI service. So the essence is like you have an high level summary page that is not really interactive, and you get to pin multiple visuals from different workspaces, or like or semantic model. So now let me just go back to click out this guy, click out, and then I have my so we have an additional artifact here, which is called webinar dashboard. This is what we actually like name it. So now let's say I have all these reports from Power BI desktop, a new dashboard, they have been published. Now how do they stay up to date? How how do they stay up to date from the data? So that's open up what we the refresh and the gateway part of our slide. So refresh is basically how we can do it two ways. We can do it immediately, and we can also like schedule refresh. And why is data gateways important? In a moment we are going to find out. So now I'm going to try and click on refresh here, and I'm hoping to get an error that is not going to be possible to do that. So now it's filled. I have this caution icon here that say there was an error with your data with my data set. Select the warning icon to view details. So I know what is going on here, and I will explain in a bit. So like we said before, Power BI service is cloud-based and Power BI desktop is just on my computer. So now there was no problem of like of refreshing while I was in my Power BI desktop, because the files I have is local while Power BI desktop is local. So now if I've published and I want to do a refresh, there's an abstraction now. How can my Power BI service talk to the data I have on my system? Because currently now I'm literally like app.powerbi.com. How does this app.powerbi.com talk to data I have in my local computer? So that is what we have data gateways. So data gateways are very, very, very integral to setting up refresh. So they serve as a bridge between the data we have on our on-premise source, maybe it's a local Excel file, maybe it's MySQL, maybe it's SQL Server that is offline and not online, or maybe it's even not fully online. Maybe it's a data source sitting on a private network that is being abstracted away from the internet. So that is why we need gateways. So how do we set up a gateway? How do we set up a gateway? So it's quite easy. We from the workspace list view, I would go to download. I'll click on download, and then I'll click on data gateway. And even from here, I could also download the Power BI desktop, paginated reports builder, Power BI for mobile, analyze in Excel, Power BI for PowerPoint and other stuff. But I'm only interested in a data gateway. So for a beginner, this is very, very integral. Now that you've published your reports into Power BI service, how does the report stay up to date? So I already have this guide downloaded already. I don't want to download it again. It's about 500 MB. So I've already gone ahead to download it prior. So I have it here on premise data gateway, and we are going to be setting it up. But I'm going to be clicking on it again so that we can understand the type of gateway we have. What can we do with personal? What can we do with standard mode, and and what works for everybody. So to download the gateway, we have the standard mode, which is for organization, and then we also have for personal mode, which for me, I believe is tailored more for beginners on getting started. So I would like to like see to compare like gateway modes, what can happen. So if you have a data gateway that is of the standard mode, your semantic model can be used in Power BI, they can be used in Power Apps, they can be used in Azure Logics or Power Automate. So they get to work together with other aspect of the Power Apps we have here. But if you're on personal, this is the only thing you get. You only get to, they only get to work with Power BI. So I think the installation takes a bit. So let me just be proactive and start the installation now. So I just click and then I follow the prompt. And if you're also plan on taking on the PL 300 exam, there are a lot of questions that actually like come out. There are a lot of questions that come out as regarding data gateways. They are going to ask you, okay, which of these source below requires a gateway? They tell you a data source located on a private network, your Excel file, your SQL online, and then you get to choose. So for me, those were very, very easy questions for me, because I actually know about the gateway, because they are always like required for me as a beginner. All my data sources are always like a local Excel file, or even like MySQL, but I'll be the one doing the dumping from Excel file. So I'm going to click on install, and then we could also do this. So now, um, comparing the gateway mode, personal mode, and standard mode. So for the standard mode, it allows multiple users. For personal mode, it's just you, and then you could run as an app for users who aren't administrators. You run as a single user with your credential. These are tailored features for the personal mode, and it supports direct query. So what it means by direct query is in Power BI we basically have two storage mode, which is the import mode and also like the direct query. So gateways also like support direct query. Maybe you have like a SQL, you have a direct query storage mode coming from a SQL, and then it also supports that. So it takes a while for it to load. And then I'm just going to come back here, and through the semantic model, I'm going to open up my settings. I need to click this guide twice to show me a full view. So I'm going to click on settings. And then here I have my report that says last refresh field. And this is one thing that is very, very interesting. So currently coming to gateway and cloud connection. So it has already taken note that the installation, I don't think the installation is done, but it has picked it up that I have somewhat an on-premise data gateway, being a personal gateway to be precise, being installed. But here is the catch. Look at this data source and credentials. They are kind of blocked out. So they are kind of blocked out because I've not set up a gateway for my semantic model data source. So if the data source of my semantic model were like online, maybe like SharePoint, I only need to sign in and I won't have to configure a gateway. But the moment we are done with this installation and then we do a sign up, we we are going to be able, this data source credential is going to come alive. So why that's okay, okay, it's getting muted. So we can also, okay, I think it's done. Yeah, I think it's done. It's done uploading. Yeah, this is nice. So I'm going to sign in now. I don't need to save. Control window T. So it's asking for my credentials, and I'm going to sign up. So for me, this is an integral part of Power BI service aspects for people just getting started with Power BI, and then they want to go from production to consumption to have their reports being consumed. So first thing, you install your gateway on personal mode, and then you provide the same credentials that you have on your Power BI desktop. So for me here, this is it. I have Olamide at quzeemnigeria.microsoft.com. So I'm going to be signing in. Olamide at quzeemnigeria.onmicrosoft.com. So I'll click on sign in. So I'm going to use another account. Olamide Quzeem. Olamide at Quzeem Nigeria. dot on Microsoft.com. Click on enter. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to Power BI Desktop once again. So I'm just going to copy this guy. Olamide at quzeemnigeria.microsoft.com. So the credentials for the I'm setting up for the gateways is the same thing I have with my Power BI Power BI account in desktop and also the one I have in Power BI service. So I'm going to go to my authenticator to approve this sign in. So give me a moment, authenticator. Unlock, refresh. Good. So 83, and then I click on yes, and should go. So this is beautiful. So now it says I have you already have set up an on-premise data. If you continue, some of the data says, yeah, that is fine with me. So yeah, continue. So setting up a gateway on your PC for beginners is quite easy. It's just that it might, take a little bit of time with getting your credentials and data connectivity right. So now the gateway is online and ready to be used. So I can just close. So I'm going to open up my Chrome and then I'm going to do a refresh. So I'm expecting the status to go from not reachable to connected at least. So now this is beautiful. So looking at the gateway and connection now, we could see it is saying that it is running on my desktop. This is currently my desktop. And this data source credentials now, we could see my data model has four major data you could see here, excluding the calendar table here. I have the sales data, I have the exchange rates, 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And in Power BI service, through the data gateway that we just installed and configured, we could see that we are being told to, just edit the credential now, which is basically easy. So I click on edit credentials. I set the privacy settings to organizational, which is standard. So I click on sign in and it goes, shouldn't take much time. So this is beautiful. So I do the same thing for the exchange rates data that I have. So the privacy level setting, standard, organizational, click on sign in. Same thing for the sales data, organizational, then sign in. And then lastly, I have this guy here. So organizational and then sign in. So that is about it with setting up a gateway so that our data can be updated from our local source or like on-premise source so that Power BI service can pick it up. So now we can configure our refresh here. So for beginners that getting started with Power BI service, now you've made your report. How can we configure refresh? So there are two kind of things we could do. We could refresh now, or we could schedule a refresh. So refresh now, they call it on demand because you are doing it immediately. And then we have like a scheduled refresh. So I'm going to click on that. This is going to pop this open for us. Then I go to refresh. And once I Once I toggle this from off to on, this comes alive, and we have two options. We could set a daily refresh, or we could do it a weekly. And also regarding the PL3 on the exam, questions comes out on refresh. They will ask for somebody on Power BI Pro, what is the maximum number of amount of times they can refresh in a day, which is 8. Why for anybody on maybe like premium per user, premium capacity, they get 48. So what can we configure from this refresh? What happens if this refresh fails? So automatically as a semantic model owner, I get updated if my refresh kind of like fails. I can also tick this box to add more contacts. But like I said before, I'm the only one in my tenant. I can't, add anybody. I can't add anybody else. So what else do we need to know about refreshing, most especially for beginners that have set up their data gateways? So one of the problems I ran into, let's say over the years as a beginner, was that there was a time I configured my refresh to run every Monday, but then at a particular time, but I get a notification in my mail that says, oh, the refresh has failed. And it all boils down to one thing at that particular moment. The same reason why we need a gateway is because our local source, like our data in our desktop, cannot talk to our data, cannot talk to the Power BI service. So if you are, for the time that you scheduled for the refresh, you make sure that your laptop is online. So I mean, like what I mean by online, like you have, your Wi-Fi, turned on, like you are connected to the internet, or else your refresh won't work because it's just, trying to solve a problem that you already know the answer, you're just doing the wrong thing. So for it to probably like set up your scheduled refresh to work properly for somebody using an on-premise data gateway, you need to be connected to the internet. So let's see what else do we have here on my slide. I mean. So I have the slide here, Power BI service. So if there are any questions regarding setting up a data gateway and scheduled refresh, I'm all ears, and I would love to take questions on that. So now that we've configured refresh, what about alert and subscription? What does this mean? So alert and subscription, why they might sound alike, because both are informative. The purpose they serve is a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit different. For me, alerts alert is proactive in the sense that alert is configured for certain threshold. Maybe when a particular our reports, maybe like if particular visual, we set alerts on a card visual. For instance, in our Power BI service here, not tab. Good. So I'm going to just click on webinar demo. I'll click on this dashboard here. So now let's see, for any time this quantity sold here, anytime this quantity sold get to 6 million, I want to be informed. I want to be informed. So that is where alert comes in. Alert is proactive. Why subscription for me, I feel, is reactive. So how can we set up alert, and what's the difference between alert and subscription? I don't know what's going on with this PC. Drawing the T. So yeah. So for alert, it gets notified when a data value on the dashboard tile crosses a predefined threshold. Like I said, maybe if the sales value, goes beyond 6 million, maybe if the quantity goes beyond 4 million, goes beyond 5 million. This ensures you are immediately aware of critical changes in your metrics. While for subscription, it is like scheduled email snapshot of your favorite report or dashboard directly to your inbox to stay informed without needing to actively log into the Power BI service. Maybe one way you could configure your subscription is that at the beginning of each week or daily before you start your work, you could configure it like you get a snapshot of the reports that you actually want. So, Salma, if there are any questions, I'm all ears, please. If there are any question in the chat for me. I have to check
Yeah.
myself. So, are there any
Sorry, I
questions?
thought, yeah, there is one for you.
Okay, before I
Okay,
move on to
one
setting up
is,
with.
the dashboard consider flitter on the main report?
No, 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 no. Funny enough, if you even try and once I okay, to answer this question now, let's answer the questions together. So this is my dashboard here. So this is my dashboard. I got a multiple of things that I could do. I could save a copy. I could manage a permission as the admin. I could share. I could click on chat in Teams. The moment I click on chat in Teams, it's open up Teams, and then I could say, oh, hey team, this threshold has been, exceeded. We should do something like that. I could subscribe people to dashboard. But to answer the question as regarding filter. So you can see the moment my mouse icon is switching from this one to an and sign. So the moment I try and I click, it takes me back to the Power BI, to the reports, the underlying reports where this style is coming from. So in terms of being interactive and filter, dashboard doesn't do that. It's an high level executive summary. So if you want the filtering interactivity, you need to go back to your reports. So are there any other questions?
Not really a question. Someone was asking if they're going to get the recording. So, yes, so the recording is going to be available this week on our YouTube channel. I'm going to drop the link. And someone also asked, do you follow the same process of setting up the gateway on server?
Yes, 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 yes. It's the same, man. It's very, very straightforward. So even it's actually like straightforward. Like the only thing that might even happen for is like his mapping. Like it might just need to like map. For me, before what I do is like prior gateways that I've been doing. I let me just open up my report and show what I'm talking about here. Go to the webinar dashboard. I click on this three dotted click again. So yeah, I click on settings. So what used to happen is that this gateway and cloud connections here, this is where I do everything. But now I noticed that instead of me to be doing like mapping, like okay, well, this gateway you are mapping into this particular data source, it opens up this data, it makes this data source credentials comes alive. So I just edit and just set the security like organization level, and that is all. So like you don't the process is straightforward and is almost the same. It's quite intuitive, even though if it is different or like because there are always like updates with Power BI service, but I promise you it's always like it's still going to be straightforward. So going moving forward, another aspect which I would also like for as a beginner that you can be equipped with is what we call row level security. So RLS. So RLS is one way in together with workspace role we can make
Still,
sure. Okay.
sorry, thank you. Like still on the dashboard and the flitter stuff. Someone asks, so if the underlying report is updated, including selected report filter, does those updated flow to the dashboard?
Yes, they do.
Hmm.
But here's the catch. Because of time here. So let me talk about pitfall you might have as a beginner or like a little bit of maybe you get afraid. So once I click on this refresh here, and then it tells me it is successful. So I can actually click on refresh, and then it's going to click on keeping on refreshing. You can see instead of it showing us the triangular caution that something has showed, it is going here like it is successful. So here's the catch. So while it might show that your refresh is successful, it may not reflect immediately for a couple of reasons. Number one, because of your data connectivity, and number two, maybe your browser is has cached the previous reports, you understand, so that is what is getting to show you. So once your refresh is successful, it may take about 2 minutes to 15 minutes for it to like successfully to appear live on the report. What I mean, like once I'm done with the refresh is successful, it's going to take a while because I've tried before. I click on class demo BI. Shouldn't take long. So this is beautiful. So now let's say we have new pizza type now. Maybe like we added to new pizza type and this has become 18. And my report is showing, my refresh is showing me successful. And I'm wondering like, oh, what is happening? Has something failed? Nothing has failed. So I used to have that kind of beginning and like, okay, immediately I refresh and it is successful. I need to like, see it reflect on the visuals in my report. So it's sometimes it takes a little longer due to a couple of reasons that like I've explained. So that's one of the pitfall as regarding to refresh for a beginner. So I'm going to be moving on to row level security. So row level security is another integral part for a beginner, which is very easy to set up. So what do I mean by row level security? So row level security, in a nutshell, it ensures users only see data that belongs to them or they are authorized to access. So for us as a data analyst now, more than often, or like 99% of the time, we are going to guess the data as a whole. Like maybe our company is international, or like maybe pan Nigeria, as it may be in my own in my own experience that I have. You have the old data consolidated in one place, and then you make your report on it. So you don't get to build a report for Southwest and then start building same thing for Southeast. You build for one, and then you activate RLS to make sure that maybe this report, because I've made everything to be like pan Nigeria, like it has all the old regions. So I will now use RLX to make sure that people in this particular region are seeing what belongs to them. And what I mean is like if I build the reports I've published, I'm going to set up row level security in the sense that people from Southeast, the moment they sign in and try and check the reports, they get to see the reports for Southeast alone. So it's kind of like filters down the data. So which begs the question, so how do we set up row level security? So to set up row level security, the funny aspect is that we need to go back to Power BI desktop. So to set up row level security, we need to go back to Power BI desktop, and I'm going to come to Power BI here, go to home, and through the modeling view is where we set up the row level security. So row level security in a nutshell for me allows people to see data that belongs to them, or how it is configured, and it's one aspect of the secure and share of the PL 300 exam that gets asked a lot. There is no way questions on row level security won't come out. So how do we set up row level security? Like as you can see in this report here, I have different branches. I have for Bagada, I have for Ibadan, Ikoyi, Lekki, London, and Surulere. So before I don't want to build separate reports for Bagada, build separate reports for Ibadan. I've done the whole reporting holistically. Now for me to send it to the end users to consume or do whatever they like with it, I'm going to activate RLS so that only people from Bagada get to see data that belongs to Bagada. People from Ibadan get to see data from Ibadan. So enough of talking. How do we do that? From the Home tab, you go to the Modeling tab. I prefer to call them tab rather than ribbon. So I click on Manage Rows. I'm going to click this guy out. So I'm going to sign up again. So Ctrl S. So I don't know why I'm having this blue at the bottom. So I'm going to save, and then I'm going to quit again. So just give me a moment. So this is meant to be together. So I'm just going to close this guy, and then I'm opening up again. So I would save. Okay, I could save. Let me just save. Okay, I do Control-C. So this is good. The blue line has gone. So I'll just open up Power BI again to set up the row level security. So I could multitask while my reports load if there are any questions as regarding setting up row level security. So there are two kinds of row level security basically. We have the static and then the RLS. We are going to be creating the static and then talk more of the RLS before we round up the session. Oh. So I'm waiting for the recent report. So yeah, so this guy is fine by me. So the data model is a little bit yeah, I guess. Yeah, this is taking longer. Okay. Yeah, so this works. Let's just get it party started. Let's get it party started. So it's still loading. Okay, yeah, nice. So now to set up row level security in a way that people from this particular branch only get to see the data that belongs to them. From the home tab, I move to the modeling, then I click on manage rows. So I have this dialog box that pop up. So create new security rows and use filters to define row level data restrictions. So I'm going to click on this row and then I'll double tap to rename it. I'll call the first one Bagada. I'll call this Bagada. Yes. I'll say Bagada managers. Yeah. So Bagada managers. Yeah, this works for me. Or Bagada. Yeah. Let me just call this Bagada managers. So now here's the interesting part. So this branch data here, this my branch data here is I need a field. The way row level security work is that you configure row level security on your dimension table. What I mean by dimension table, so I have my sales table here. So this is my sales data here. This is like the main data, but my dimension table that is related to this sales data based on this RLS I want to create is this branch data here. So the way row level security work is that it filters. So let's say I have Bagada, I have Ibadan, Ikoyi, Lekki, London, and Surulere, and I set up a row level security for Bagada. So the moment I configure RLS for Bagada for the branch data, is going to filter for Bagada alone, and then that filtering now with the relationship we set up prior, during our modeling is now going to filter the sales data that only Bagada sales data can be seen. So the way it works is that you shrink the dimension table, RLS shrinks the dimension table, and the dimension table in turn shrink the main table. So enough of talking. I'll just click on new row. So this is one lazy way to do it. So I'll do branch equals to Bagada here, Bagada, and then I click on save. So instead of, I'll just switch to the DAX editor now, so I can just be duplicating over here. So I'll just click on this three-dotted icon and then I click on duplicate. So I'll double tap to rename. I'll call this Lekki, and I'll just come here and rename this guy to Lekki. So this works for me. So I could also come in and say copy table filter from Bagada managers to create another one. So I can just come here. I will say switch to DAX editor. Just come here and then Control V. Okay, not this is not what was intended. So I'll delete this. I would do this. I'll say duplicate and then I'll do for Ikoyi and then I'll come here. I say I'll do for Ikoyi. So and then I do for Ikoyi and then I click on save. So there's this green tick here to validate our DAX expression whether there's an error or not. So this works. So I'm going to click on save. So now one beautiful aspect of row level security in like doing the setup in Power Desktop is that we can also test this role that we've set up. So like I could remember, we created role level security for Bagada, Ikoyi, and Lekki. So I'm going to click on Bagada managers, and then I'm going to click on OK. So now you can see it's meant to be Bagada, but it's showing Ikoyi. So let me just click on manage role and make sure that this is correct. Okay, this is meant to show. So switch to Dax editor. Okay, this is nice. So it's currently, I need to, this view as row, I need to stop, and then I click on OK. So everything resets, and then I'm going to manage it again. So to see whether there's going to be a change. Okay, so it's still empty, still empty. So I'm just going to delete again and create from scratch. So delete and then delete. So I'll click on new row, click on the branch data, switch to Dax editor. Let me be lazy again. Branch equals to Bagada, and then I switch to Dax editor. It is okay. I click on save. So I could rename this to Bagada. So I'll duplicate this and then come here and name it to Ibadan. And I click to verify, and then I click on save. So I renamed to avoid the mistake like I made before. This one is big K. So this one should say Ibadan. And then this one should say Bagada, but without the two. So this works for me. Okay, so no problem. So I'll just click on save here, and then I close. So the beautiful aspect of setting up RLS here is, we could configure, we could test the rows here and see what's going to happen. So the data is currently figured to Bagada. And for me, one pet peeve I have is like, if I'm doing, you can see now viewing as Bagada too. Yeah, there's a way row level security affects the way the reports kind of like looks like. Prior here, we have the sales generated by branch. We have for Bagada, for all the basically we have for all the branch. But now that we are using RLX, we just have one column. And for me, aesthetically, I don't like this. So I could just reconfigure this visual to something maybe like a general card, or I just delete this guy in total. So that is just one pet peeve for me as regarding that. So I'm going to stop viewing, and then I'm going to go to my home tab, and then I'll try and publish again. So yes, I want to save my changes. So I just closed this my Chrome mistakenly. So I'm going to open up to having the same problem. So I'm going to close this guy. So good. Yeah. So I'll do app.powerbi.com, go back to my desktop app, and then I'll click on webinar demo, and then I'll click on select. So it's telling me that since I have a report and a semantic model with this particular same name, it's asking me if I want to replace. So I'm going to click on replace. So this is like the first step in configuring row level security. Once this gets done, now we are going to go into the Power BI service, and we are going to be adding people from Bagada to the Bagada row level security, and people from Ibadan to the Ibadan row level security. So while this is publishing, if there are any questions, I'm all ears, because we'll be running the session soon. Good. So now it's done publishing. I'm going to open up the reports. So now at a glance, there's not going to be any change. So we would, do the finishing touch over here. So I'm going to click on webinar demo, and then through the semantic model, we could access the row level security we've set up in Power from the Power BI desktop. So I click on these three dotted icons here. So again, so everything shows, and I click on security. So it is this through the security that you can see now we have row level security now, and here's the catch now. So I have people, the row level security Bagada and then the row level security Ibadan. So here now I can come here and add people from Ibadan. So this is just only me. You had people from Ibadan. The moment I had people from Ibadan here, I will do add, and then if I click on this, I don't want to do this because I don't want to, mess up the O report, but let's just this preview. So now the moment I save, I can go back to webinar demo, go to security. I was meant to test. Yeah. So you click on these three dotted icons to test as row. So I've, currently viewing as Ibadan. So I only get to see Ibadan reports. So you can see now. So if I'm to share these reports with these people, with these branch managers, the moment I send to them and with the row level security that I've configured, we've configured in Power BI desktop, then we come here to Power BI service, we add their mails to those particular rows, and then you get to see the data tailored their to their respective branches. So I'm going to delete because I just want to see for you, but I want to see from anybody. So another questions that we could also ask is, since I'm an admin here, so let me try and just show us which I think is going to make more sense. So I'm going to click on class demo Power BI. So now, if my account is Quzeem Olamide at Microsoft here, I'm the account manager, like I'm the admin of this particular tenant, and I've created a row level security that says I should only see for Ibadan. So here's the question. We need to configure row level security in a way that they work together with workspace row. So what I mean is for the workspace row, we have the admin, we have the member, we have the contributor, and at the bottom we have the viewer. So if I'm configuring a row level security, I shouldn't configure row level security for somebody that has an admin role. Currently now I have an admin role, and I now configure the row level security to dump my capability down. It's not going to like work. So to make sure we don't have any issue with like configuring an RLS and saying it doesn't work, you need to make sure that your workspace roles and the row level security roles, they are not like conflicting, because at the end of the day, workspace roles supersede anything you define by RLS. So what you can just do is that you make sure that they work in tandem with each other. And what do I mean? So let's say all these people from their respective branches, the Bagada managers, the Ibadan managers, the Lekki managers, for the workspace role, I could assign them only as viewers. So in that way, the viewer allow them to view. So with the admin, I could see everything, I could edit, I could basically do anything that is allowed within the license. So it's always good to configure your role level security in a way that it doesn't, conflict with your workspace role. Another aspect of the PL 300 exam is that they ask question that, okay, oh, if you configure a row level security like we have here now, we have brands Lekki, Ikoyi, Bagada, Ibadan, and Surulere. And I just want to categorize this Lekki, Ikoyi, Bagada, and Surulere as Lagos basically because they are all places in Lagos. Now I've configured the row level security for Lagos, and then I'm now configuring an individual row level security for Lekki, Ikoyi, Bagada. So if there's a person that's in Lagos that is also in Bagada, they are going to see everything in Lagos, and Lagos is Lekki, Ikoyi, Bagada. So, reliable security it is addictive. It doesn't do intersection. If you look at it from, let's say, set operation, it's basically union. So if you have maybe somebody is in, you define them in a row in A, and then you define them in a row in B. Power BI service not could do an intersection of like, oh, what do they have in common? What it does is like it gives them everything, like it joins them together. So the behavior with row level security in Power BI services, it is very very addictive, and in terms of like the exam questions, those kind of stuff, um do come out. So I think I'll just go through my slide to see if I didn't miss anything. Good. So I think I didn't talk about this workspace role like in full. So like I said now, admin possesses full control over the workspace, including managing user setting and all content. This role is typically for a few key individuals, which I kind of like agree with. So member is just one level below the admin. They can create, they can edit, they can publish, they can facilitate active collaboration with other team members. So people with technical know-how, they should be admin and member, and maybe people with also technical know-how can also be contributor, but you don't trust them much. You don't want to, delete certain things in the workspace, but they can also like create and edit content, and they can also delete contents that they create and and delete themselves, but they can't delete things they meet originally in the workspace. So viewer is the least, they only get to view. And question as regarding the principle of least privilege comes out in the PL 300 exam, like it's a sure bank can permit me to say that. So what do we mean by the principle of least privilege? So it's a concept in Power BI service, in the sense that like let's say a policy that advise that you only assign the lowest necessary role for somebody to to do it in. Let's say somebody is only interested in just viewing the reports, you won't assign them the role of an admin, because an admin can do more than that. The least minimum required necessary role for person to view is just a viewer. So you assign them the viewer. So that's the concept of the principle of least privilege. And how those kind of questions comes in the period 300 exams are kind of like tricky and straightforward. So I think I'm being ironical with what I'm saying. So what I mean is, so they may say that, okay, well, there is this particular report user that needs to edit your semantic model, to like maybe like create their own report from your semantic model according to the value of principle of least privilege. What kind of role should you assign? So in that sense, the only need to was create and edit. The person should be assigned a contributor, not a role whether they can remove other members or add other people. So I think that's just one major part of my slide that I kind of missed. So I think that is about it for today's session. There might be a follow-up on how we can take this further for beginners. So if there are any questions, I'm all ears. And for our boot camps, these are things that we are going to also we'll be addressing in the boot camp. We don't just show you skills you will be using. We go beyond, teach you what others are not doing, teach you what you need to to be ahead of your peers in the industry. So if there are any questions, I'm all ears. So Michael has dropped the link to our bootcamp in the in the chat. So someone, I don't think there are any questions. So I don't know if you can wrap up. So thank you for having me today.
Okay, Quzeem,
So
thank you so much.
somebody's raising up there,
Okay,
and
Abdulrahman.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for the
good afternoon.
short training. I wouldn't call it short. It's quite long. Could you please just talk just a little bit about the bootcamp and the cost again, please? And how is it done? Is it all virtual or any physical to it?
Okay, so someone, do you want to go ahead or should I
Okay,
answer?
so for the bootcamp, it is virtual fully, and it's going to run for 3 weeks. The first week for Excel, the second week for Power BI, and the third week for SQL. So, and it's going to be a live session, but it's going to be recorded. So if you are not like available for this section, you are going to get the recording. But the way it is being structured, it is free, but we have like more uh like when it comes, it is free for everybody to join, but when you want to have access to this certificate and also the recording, so we are saying when you join live, you're not being asked to pay for anything, but when you want to get the recording, like other materials and also for us to go through your work, so you have to pay a fee for that. I'm going to and again, okay, we've already dropped the link to, so we have to have pay a fee for it. And there are sometimes you be like, okay, I'm only interested in Excel. So if you want to pay just for a particular course, which is the everything is already on the flyer and also the amount too. And it's going to run from Monday to Tuesday for Excel, while for the 3 days for Power BI is going to be from Monday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 2. Yeah, so you get the support, the recording, and the assessment of the assignment, and also projects. So for the free, not paying, you don't have access to all this one. So you just have like the opportunities to just join the class, just like this webinar, and there's no any other support for that. So if you have any more question, you can drop it in the chat. And also we've already at the period training for working. It is open for everybody, paid, working students, you're trying to get your kids or your brother or sister. So it's actually free for everybody. But just like when you're trying to get a particular, let me say, concentration, you pay for it. So the weekend training is free for everybody.
So okay, so okay, I believe this person is asking for like separate training. So in the intro slide, we do custom made trainings, just yeah, we do paid weekend trainings, but it might just be virtual. It might be virtual. So yeah, it might be virtual if you want your trainings to be on the weekend. But during weekday, we offer physical and virtual class. So you can just go through our site and then reach out to our customer experience person. They will provide more information as regarding that. Okay, live reach out. Yes, that can be worked out. That can be worked out. So I think you can reach out to us at team@yourbizedge.com for Ogunwale Fumi. I hope I got it right. So you can reach out with this your request, and then our customer and marketing person will follow up with you. So I've just dropped it in the chat for you. So if there are no more questions, I'll be turning off my camera, I guess, and then so. Thank you, Salma. I'm done.
Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining this section. And the recording is going to be available this week. You can check our YouTube channel for that. We also have like for the password and also some YouTube videos, some short videos. So you can always go through our YouTube channel to check that. We also have a page on IG where you can check. We have short videos, Excel, SQL, Power BI for you to go. So we're going to be ending today's section. So see you everybody in our next section. Thank you. And once again, thanks for joining. And to our speaker, Quzeem. Thank you. It was nice having you around. So bye bye, everybody. Thank you.